Good morning, everyone. Well, let's see. Things are going all right this morning here at the Zucchino home. I have enjoyed a let's see, fairly good family day weekend. Just wondering how did everyone else enjoy the family day weekend? Maybe, did you guys do anything together? Any family things? Did you get outside? Because it's kind of mild, but super windy and snowy actually at the beginning of the weekend, wasn't it? And then ice fish, nice. Adam, was that on Simcoe? Yeah, I don't Simcoe. Drove by Simcoe yesterday, Kempenfelt, and there's probably a good 100 huts out there anyways, maybe more. I'm not sure. There's a lot of huts out there. Are you catching lake trout or whitefish? Perch. Oh, lots of those. They're basically an unlimited amount of perch. All right. Guess you just have to find that right spot, the right time of day for the big ones. And Jack, looks like you were working most of the weekend. Yes, where were you working? Ah, okay. Well, it must have been busy at this on the slopes on the weekend. I imagine it was crazy. Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna come back to skiing in a little bit, but also Nick, you went out for dinner. Very good. I was lucky enough to go out for dinner as well. I went to first time ever. Went to Baton Rouge, which is kind of it's a place on Bayfield Street. Where did you end up going out, Nick? Anywhere decent, or was it somewhere like fast food? Sushi, excellent. Those are definitely sushi's probably one of my favorite meals to go to. Yeah, I don't know. I even when I was at Baton Rouge, I had they have a salad that has uh, salmon in it, but it's raw, like it's sushi salmon. It's not cooked salmon. So that's what I had on Friday for my meal. But so actually, I had a super long weekend. I took Friday off as well, so I had 4 days off, which was nice. But I dug in deep into a home renovation where there's one room in our house that we want to redo. So it's everything from like putting in like reframing an outside wall. It's an addition, and put in like framing for a new window. Took out a screen door and put in the windows, and we started to rip the ceiling down, all sorts of rip the carpet up, all sorts of stuff. So that was my family day weekend. But I squeezed in because I had COVID at Christmas. I hadn't had my Christmas dinner yet with my family. So I was able to get together with my parents on the weekend and my sister to have our Christmas dinner. That was belated Christmas, which was decent. We didn't do turkey though. We did curry. It was a curry Christmas, so um, everyone liked that. And um, What was the other thing? And yesterday, every spring for the last probably 20, close to 25 years, I've been making maple syrup. So I was out tapping the trees yesterday. Does anyone do maple syrup here? Their families? No one does maple syrup? It's probably one of the, it's so easy, honestly. But the sap was already running yesterday because of the warm temps during the day. So put in a bunch of taps and we'll be collecting the sap to make maple syrup. I always find that whenever I tap the trees for maple syrup, I know spring is like right at the brink, right around the corner, right at the doorstep of spring right now. So we are, that's what I feel, because I know yesterday the sap was running and we get those warm days and cool nights. And I know I'll be spending lots of time outside around the evaporator making syrup. So that's kind of my, I had a, I guess a busy weekend with all that stuff going on. So, what is going on today? We do have a busy day today, and I guess I should apologize. I was, I think, out of it last week. Not maybe not being on my A game, but I forgot to open up the chat, which was unfortunate. And um, I did make that mistake, but I have. Well, what? Let's just have a look at the. Let me think about this for a sec. Well, what we're going to do today is we have some concept overviews to do um, for our um, for our sims simulations of the sports team. We're going to do concession capital spending, and we're going to try and do sponsorship too if we have enough time. We also have a quiz for, we'll see how the quizzes go. We'll try and squeeze those in, but we also have our presentation today, and um, we know that our presentation is with Sydney and John, and they are talking about money and the double or NCAA, and that is kind of timely since we're getting kind of into March Madness right now, which is, I'm sure, all hooked up to that. So we have the presentation, and we're going to go earlier with the presentation than later. We'll make sure that the presentation can get done earlier. I know Sydney, I saw your message, so we'll make sure that happens. Um, and we also, what else were we going to do today? Oh, yes. So what I've done with uh, the chats, I'm just going to show you with the chats. And let me just pull this up for a second. I'll share my screen on this one. So on the discussion boards, so because I missed um, right here, whoops. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Okay, so I missed the NCAA money. So I have opened this one up and this one, esports. So we have until, oops. Oh my goodness, hold on a second. This is going to make anyone dizzy. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Let me get back into this. So I have opened up the I'm having problems here. What is going on? Announcements. Here we are. Sorry. Opportunities. Oh, my Blackboard is messing up right now. Hold on. Here we go. Discussion board. Oh, what am I talking about? NCAA money and the esports. Since what we have is reading week next week, which is kind of nice to know that that's coming up. But I'm going to leave these two boards open, NCAA money and esports, until March 14th. So that's, is that 3 weeks from today? Yes, 3 weeks from today. So not next week is reading week, so that's March 1st. The first week back, March 8th. I'll talk about that in a second, but the esports presentation is on the 15th, so I'm going to leave the NCAA and esports discussion boards open for the 3 weeks so you can participate in that. Okay, so that's lots of time to get those done, and then we'll get back on schedule. And we have missed two presentations, and what we want to do is those two presentations. So number one with Christian and Prima, and last week with Nick and Harmondeep will be presenting on March 8th. So that is our Tuesday when we return from reading week. 2 weeks today. So everyone has that clear. Any questions about that? About those two rescheduled presentations? Okay. All right, no questions. So with today's presentation, I don't know. So let me just, so John and Sydney, we will have so we're in week 5. So it's going to be Kasu, Marcus, Connor, and Julian assessing them. If anyone is here. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. All right, so I just talked about the discussion board, the presentations we missed, the concept overviews, today's presentation. Okay. All right, so what I will, 8:15, I'm going to go to the capital spending concept overview. That'll take about 15 minutes to 8:30. I'll give you time for the quiz, and we will start the presentation well before 9 o'clock. Hopefully, Sid, that works for you. Okay, so the concept overview, let's get to this. Does anyone have any questions at this point? No questions yet? Okay, where did my concept overviews? Had them open last night, and here it is. Now this one, once I share it, Okay. So capital spending for concessions, the way they focus on this module is about concession stands. So actually each concession stand in a building um, is sort of the way they look at it. So there's a few budget type of things they talk about in here, which makes sense because they're going to be talking about this concept of return on investment. We'll get into the examples of that in a minute. But the way this overview or concessions capital spending works is so they talk about a capital building project is defined as a project that takes significant amount of resources, labor, and financial to undertake and complete. So that is, products, time, and money. And the project is designed to help maintain or improve the venue or building. In any undertaking, the important aim of capital investment decisions is to increase the franchise's value. And for example, the decision to build out more concessions in the stadium would be driven by the greater likelihood of better fan experience through less wait in concession lines and increase in variety of food options. Now, I'm just wondering, maybe have a little discussion about any interesting food experiences at a stadium. Anyone have any experiences of food or drink at a stadium that they can share? Anything kind of unique? Like there are certain foods at different ballparks that are sort of infamous. Like I'm, I can I think in Chicago or in Boston, there's probably some food that you would go because it's like this foot long hot dog or a different things like this. But it has got when I believe, and this is when I did last one of the Leaf games I went to, and Brian Burke was the GM for the Leafs. I think they had a concession stand that was that was sort of a themed after Brian Burke. I think they called it Burke's Dogs, and it was like gourmet hot dogs with it was basically a hot dog with all different types of toppings. So they had, one hot dog was a poutine hot dog, and one hot dog was a chili dog, and one hot dog was a spicy jalapeno dog and stuff like that. So have had that. That was kind of one thing that I had thought of that I have experienced. We all know about the expensive beer prices in the stadiums that are kind of over the top, but it's kind of like going to the theaters or the movies and having, you're kind of in there, the popcorn, the drink costs more than the movie does. But that, it's sort of the way they do their business. And we will talk about the price of that, but no one has any experiences of any sort of good or bad experiences with concession stand food. I'm disappointed. Disappointed. No one has anything to share. No sushi at the stadiums. All right. So it is important for a venue to assess whether the money it invested in the project was worthwhile. In order to break even, the venue will need to increase the overall profits and sales. This is called return on investment, and you'll need to know that term. Will be a definition at the end of this. will be I'll and if the combination of financial and indirect benefits, there's a fan experience needed in order to recoup the money invested is unrealistic or unattainable, then the project may not be worthwhile. So you don't want to open up more concession stands than are needed by the fan experience. So if you go to, uh, I don't know, the Sadland Center, and you line up for popcorn. Does it make sense to have? Maybe they have 5 popcorn stands. Maybe they have 8. Would it make sense to have 20 of them? Would that be realistic? Probably not. So there is a formula that they use, which we will be talking about to figure out what is the right number, right quantity, the right amount of concessions stands, because they figure out based on the attendance and the amount of the attendance and the money spent per game, they come up with a term, a price. It's we will get into about what they expect an average on a family of 4 to spend at a arena or a stadium. So with any capital project comes capital costs. So capital costs are defined as the total cost needed to bring a project to commercially operable status. So this may include purchases of land, equipment, or even hiring general and subcontractors. Therefore, the venue must determine whether the capital project invested will yield greater returns than maintaining the status quo would. So in this case, in the concession project, the venue must factor in the cost of cooking equipment, food, and stadium costs. And then there's 2 terms here they want us to look at, or we want to look at: valuation analysis. This basically determines what something is worth. And the net present value, the NPV, net present value calculation, determines the present value of the project's projected future income. So in the calculation, the present value of the project's cost is subtracted from the present value of future income. A positive net present value usually means you should accept or implement the project. And as we get into return on investment, this deals with the money or revenue invested in a project and the benefit return it realizes on the investment. So you may hear ROI, as people tend to even use the acronym without telling you what it means, return on investment. So if you hear ROI in a discussion, sometimes on sports stations or talk radio, you hear that sort of thing on news. The most frequent used method to calculate ROI is to divide the net profit of investment by cost of investment. I'm just going to explain to you what this is, because there will be some questions in the quiz on this. So net profit is determined by subtracting the cost of the investment by the total gain of investment. So here's an example of the concession context. If a revenue invested 100,000 into 5 concession stands, so if a revenue invested 100,000 into 5 concession stands throughout the stadium, which led to 500,000 in increased concession sales, the return on investment was 400%. So the way they figure this out is they take the net profit is determined by subtracting the cost of investment. So the net profit, 500,000, subtracted by the cost of the investment, 100,000. Okay, divided by 100. So 500,000 minus 100,000 equals 400,000. Correct. Divided by the sorry, I'm just reading here. The net profit determined by subtracting cost of investment by total gain investment, the whole context of venue, by the 100,000, the total investment. So it comes up with the number 4, which is expressed as a percentage. So 4 times 100. So 400%. So it's 4 times the amount of your initial investment. So your 100,000, if it was to 200,000, it'd be 1 time the increase of your initial investment. So if it went from 100,000 to 200,000, your percentage would be 100%. So it'd be 100% increase. So if you think of your initial investment as 100%, and then if it doubled, that would be another 100%. So if it goes up to 500,000, that's 400%. 4 times. So the return on investment is used to compare strength of all investment a team engages in. So if a team seeks to build a parking lot around the stadium, it may cost 200,000 to do so, and it would yield a profit of 900,000. But the concession stands would be a better investment because it yields a higher return on investment. So 400,000. So here, the parking lot would return of investment would be 350,000 or 350%. So if you take the 200,000 to 900,000, if it went to 200,000, went up to 400,000, that'd be 100%. Then it went up to 600,000, 200%. Went up to 800,000, be 300%. And it goes up to another 900,000, be 350%. All right, so the return on investment for this parking lot and concession example, the better investment would be the concession stands. And optimizing of concessions. So based on the average attendance of events and average spending at concessions, the vendor needs to determine how much a concession stand will make, how many concession stands they'll make available for fans. So for example, the United Center in downtown Chicago, again an American example, hosts the Chicago Bulls and Chicago Blackhawks every NBA and NHL season, and hosts the UFC events throughout the season. And this is a example from 2015. Okay, so it's 7 years old example, but this is what happened in 2015. So they average around 22,000, the Bulls and the Blackhawks. I imagine that's pretty close to being sold out in attendance. UFC was about half that, 11,663. So the United Center would not be optimizing its profits if it left the same amount of concession stands open for the UFC event as it did for the Bulls and Blackhawks. That makes sense, right? There's half the amount of people, so you're probably opening half the amount of concession stands. So each sport uses a metric called fan cost index. This is what I was talking about with the family at a game. So the cost for taking a family of four to the game. What does it cost for a family of four to go to a game? So they average it all out. Could be expensive seats, could be cheap seats. It could be some people are buying beer, some people are buying pop, and so on. Maybe not beer for the kids, but you know what I mean. The metrics include 4 tickets, so they're based on a family of four. So I have a family of five, so I would average out with a family of three. Okay, so family of four, 2 small beers, 4 soft drinks, 4 hot dogs, parking, 2 programs, and 2 adult-size hats. And they base it on this. So if you think of, sometimes many people don't buy any sort of merchandise, but other people may buy a jersey, but they average out on 2 hats. Okay, team can use this metric to calculate the average pricing of the most commonly purchased items at a concession stand. As one way to project sales at a concession. So this is the one way they talk about the merchandise as concession as well. Average price is most concession stand. Well, maybe I think they just are averaging in all these different items, but then they're looking at the hot dogs, soft drinks, beers as concession stand. Individual teams will have metrics that are specific to its own unique concession food stands, options to calculate how much activity one concession stand has, what food options sell more than others, and when do individuals go to concession stands throughout the length of an event. So when do you go? At the very beginning of the game, at the end of the first period, at halftime, that sort of thing. What are the most popular times to go? And we have some key terms here. So net present value, NPV, which you talked about above, the calculation in which positive and negative cash flows at different times are discounted to today's dollars and summed. In general, positive net present value means you should accept or implement a project, right? Optimization, the process of maximizing a certain metric such as profit, the ROI, return on investment, a measure of additional profits earned, the return based on an outlay of money. So returning on your investment. Status quo would mean that you're not changing anything, keeping the status quo. You may have heard that term a variety of times. Valuation analysis is the process of eliminating a numeric value for an asset or business, often used in evaluating investments. All right, well, that was a quick concept overview. And now I want to, in Blackboard, it is 8:31. I'm sort of right on schedule here. Courses. Okay, so the quiz for the concession is open. So it's 8:32. I will give you till 8:47. 8:47 will be 15 minutes to work on that. When we come back at 8:47, we will have the presentation. All right, so it'll be quiz until and we may have a question. Quiz open all week. Yes, the quiz will be open for the week, but I'm going to give you time now to do the quiz until 8:47. And when we come back at 8:47, we'll have the presentation from Sydney and John. Alrighty, so we will talk to you in less than 15 minutes. Nick, you have a question? Quiz is under the Sims, so you go into the virtual business case Sims and find the concession capital spending module. Open that up, and then you will find the quiz in that section. Should be good. I'll stick around here. I'm just going to shut off my camera and my mic, but I will be here at the computer while you guys are doing the quiz. And 8:47, I'll be here. But if you have a question, drop it in the chat. All right, that is actually 8:48. Give you one extra minute there to work on the quiz. I'm not sure. Was everyone or anyone able to finish the quiz? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up or something like that if you were. Possibly nobody finished the quiz. Nope, we got there. Okay, thank you. I was looking for the thumbs up. Thanks, Nick. But Jack, you also responded. Thank you. Nick, it looks like you found the quiz. If you're giving me a thumbs up, awesome. Okay, Nick. Oh, you are adding one more thing. Let's see. I want to see if anyone that is supposed to be evaluating our presenters today are here. And that would be, just trying to get my list of participants up here. Well, Kasu, not here. Marcus, not here. Connor, not here. But Julian is here. Julian, you are going to be evaluating the presenters today along with myself. All right, what we do is use the rubric. Oh, what am I sharing there? Using the rubric that is found on Blackboard. And what we will do is you can, if their content is good, you can just highlight that, hit the highlight button, go like that. If you think they're not very clear, that sort of thing, concept, just read the definitions. You can go like this. Some creativity, like that, and so on. You can just do that, and that's how you will evaluate them. Okay, put the title up here, their name, Sydney and John, and the date, and we are good to go. Okay, so Sydney, John, I'm going to turn it over to you two. I know you are probably eagerly waiting to get rolling. Make sure you do email me your presentation at some point today. That would be fantastic. So I would like to make sure that you are okay to take over. If you do share anything, when you hit the share button at the top of that screen that pops up, it says include computer sound, and you have to hit that little toggle there, and make sure you include computer sound when you're sharing any doc or any videos or anything like that that has sound. All right, so you two good to go at 8:51.
Yeah, I'm just trying to share my screen.
Okay. Take your time. Okay, you're sharing your screen.
No, okay. Mm.
Is there any sound in your presentation?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, we just gonna be talking.
All right.
How do you view it? Like, do you just view it?
Yeah, slideshow right there at the top.
You had it there. When you
Nice
click
to
on
meet you.
view,
Oh,
first
okay, there we
option.
go.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so yeah, Sydney and I are gonna be talking about NCAA athletes getting paid in sports. So, um, what that looks like now. Before, we never saw that ever. Now, after a series of court rulings against it, including a unanimous one by the Supreme Court, the NCAA changed its rules on July 1st, 2021, allowing collegiate athletes to monetize their fame, known in the business as their names, image, and likeness for the first time. So players are able to now seek out agents, seek out sponsorship deals, and use their name and their credibility from their sports to now raise money, for themselves rather than just for their school program.
All right, so obviously there's going to be pros and cons to this new deal. And on the pro side, obviously good behavior from the athletes is and has become a lot more critical. So now that these athletes have this possibility of endorsements, they also have the possibility of losing them. But they know that, and in knowing this, they're going to have to grow up quickly when they get to campus. The new nil deals provide a level of protection against career-ending injuries. So before this deal, there have been many college athletes that had to end their sport career before it had really even started. And because themselves and their families didn't have enough money to cover their medical bills, they couldn't continue. And this new deal can provide a cushion for every real possibility of like serious injury that there is. The nil deal will also allow athletes to support their family as soon as they get to college. And that was never really an opportunity before because they never had time for a job. And a college athlete could be on a full scholarship, living in a nice place with everything that they need being taken care of. And meanwhile, their families could be homeless with no food to put on the table. College athletes also have a lot less time for a job between games, practices, and classes. So having this deal, they could consider it like their job and also be able to provide for their family. Paying students to play offers just another reason for them to play. So most student athletes graduate with a degree, and even those who do go pro usually find work in their major after their athletic career is over. And the funds they receive could help them cover costs that their scholarship usually wouldn't. And then on the con side, there's also some cons. There's going to be pressure on a team's relationship. Being compensated for the use of your name, image, or likeness. It sounds like a great idea until it's not, but every student athlete's not going to have the privilege to make money off of themselves. And obviously this could lead to problems like jealousy on the team. And it just like puts everyone in an uncomfortable position. Also having the deal could encourage schools to cut other programs. There's a lot of schools that use their funds from the athletic program to fund other programs and activities at the campus. And this would cause other students to suffer because of the lack of on-campus activities. And then the deal also eliminates the line between amateur and professional sports. So like according to the NCAA, the reason why college students weren't being paid was because it would remove the separation between the amateurs and the pros. And then like this separation line is gonna, if it's gone, the link between an education at college and sports played at college, it really weakens it. And this could also cause the athletes that don't eventually go pro to suffer because they could have a lot less opportunities opening to them.
So the biggest names and deals to date so far in the NCAA. So this is Quinn Ewers. This is the quarterback of Ohio State University. Quinn was the #1 high school prospect in the country. Ewers skipped his senior year of high school and enrolled early at Ohio State last year in order to cash in on NIL deals. His largest deal was for $1.4 million over 3 years to provide autographs for GT Sports Marketing. So pretty unbelievably high number for considering what he's actually considered to do. Just sign a couple autographs and put a smile on and wear the Ohio State jersey. So this massive deal is particularly noteworthy because it was signed before Ewers even stepped foot on the field as an Ohio State player. So he was obviously supposed to be in the 12th grade, and he got exemption to go to Ohio State, simply because of his high school football pedigree, and that he and that the bill was passed that gave him the opportunity to go make money. So he went ahead and took it, and it was by far one of the most notable ones right out of the gate. So we'll go on to the next one. This is Paige Beckers, the point guard. I'm sure some of you guys know her. She's pretty famous on like Instagram and whatnot. So the University of Connecticut sophomore Paige Beckers signed the most notable NIL deal with Gatorade, being the first college athlete to ever do so. So a quote from her: "It was a blessing to win Gatorade Player of the Year, and now it's truly surreal to be an official member of the Gatorade family." So that was back in her senior year of high school, where she was awarded the state Gatorade Player of the Year, which obviously is a testament to her basketball skills and whatnot. So another quote: "I know this is just the beginning of our partnership, and I can't wait to get to work with Gatorade to drive impact in the community and on the women's game." So obviously she's doing this for money, like obviously, but she mentions in her quote she wants to drive an impact in the community and in the women's game. So she's really putting her name out there, and she wants to be like an ambassador type, a role model type for the women's basketball game, and I'm sure women's sports in total. Becker's also signed a multi-year deal with StockX, a footwear and apparel marketplace platform. And she also hired an agent pretty much as soon as she could. She hired an agent and trademarked Page Buckets, which she intends to use for a clothing line and obviously profit off that throughout her college days and onwards. So the next one is Derek King and Buda Bolden. So these two are this is the starting quarterback and starting safety at the University of Miami last year. So um, both of them signed $20,000 deals with College Hunks, which is like an American-based moving and junk removal company. I guess they're out of Miami. So as soon as they could, yeah, they um, because of the popularity of the University of Miami Hurricanes football program, um, these two were, and being star players, these two were kind of flooded with offers and whatnot. But one of the first ones was, yeah, because a company called College Hunks. Both of them had season-ending shoulder injuries that, of course, didn't affect their compensation and their deals to be paid, even though they weren't playing. So another incredibly notable signing was De'Aaron King, the quarterback, became the first college player to sign an endorsement deal with another professional sports team. He signed a deal with the Florida Panthers. So he signed this deal. King will appear at some Panthers games and events, plus engage with fans on social media and produce digital content for them. So the the financials, the numbers that King is going to receive, the money that he's going to receive is it's not released to the public, but you can imagine that it's going to be pretty handsome, and he really doesn't have to do that much. Just show up to the games, post on social media, and engage with fans. You know it's a good opportunity for these guys to make money rather than playing football. Next one. So the future of the NIL era. So just a quote here. So it will be a $1 billion a year industry at least, says Blake Lawrence, CEO and founder of Open Doors, a sports tech company that helps match players with name, image, and likeness opportunities. It's coming and it's going to be huge. So we got these companies popping up left, right, and center. Just these new, like this says, sports tech companies that help match players with to get deals and whatnot and to make them money. So it's kind of a new thing that the NCAA is tapping into. The NIL has altered the college sports landscape, disrupting the foundation of nominal amateurism that has stood for a century. While athletes are benefiting, administrators and coaches are scrambling to understand the concept, regulate it, and use it to their advantage. So, um, because uh, because of this deal, each state technically has different laws. So it's it's kind of the waters are muddy in a lot of states like California and Texas, but then in states like Florida, they really don't care at all what you do. So players and administrators and coaches are just trying to find that line to see exactly how far we could go with this. Schools cannot facilitate NIL ventures for athletes, and athletes cannot strike deals that are built around pay for play. So that meaning these incentives and compensations can't come from your performance on the field. You can't be offered a contract from an outside company that says, you know, your obligations are to show up to our events, post on social media, and say get 1,000 yards on the season, or say get like a defensive player get 5 sacks on the season. You're not allowed to pay the players for their productions on the field, but just for their contributions off the field. And next slide. So this is breaking it down into the three things emerging in the NIL universe that can impact the recruiting landscape. So bringing players into school, what's going to attract players into the schools, because it's going to depend on what state you're in. It's going to depend on how far you could bend the rules. So the first thing is co-licensing. So co-licensing entails schools granting permission to use their institutional marks, such as logos, emblems, and color schemes. Some schools are barred by state law, but most are working on a case-by-case basis. In this case, the school does not make money, but the players do. So, I mean, obviously, the schools make enough money through everything else that this isn't this isn't a bad situation for the school to just have the players making money. Um, but the schools that are really taking advantage are the ones who are group licensing. So um, essentially this is the athlete and the schools becoming business partners, so both sides can profit. For instance, this would be something like jersey sales, where you know their team store is getting the money, but the player is also seeing some percentage of that down the line. And another would be community participation. So having players engage with their communities at special events, use players' names to market events, to get people out and allow both sides to profit from that as well. So that would be like, um, say a player signs with a car dealership, they use the player's photo and name on their social media to get people out to an event or whatnot, or in that's the kind of sense of the community participation. So yeah, an example would also be like a high school game, football game appearance, or an autograph signing, just something like that. So it's weird, it's kind of a fuzzy line with this. Like obviously there's such a low percentage of players that are actually going to be getting like the Quinn Ewers numbers, like the $1.4 million. Like there's smaller program or not programs, but there's smaller deals that are being offered. Social media company Barstool Sports, they were offering college athletes $100 worth of their clothing merchandise just for putting a a Barstool athlete in their Instagram bio. So that attracted over 100,000 college athletes to do so. All they do is put Barstool Sports athlete in their bio, and then boom, they're allowed to make money, allowed to profit from that. Obviously, 100,000 athletes making $100,000, like that's not going to move the needle at all. But it kind of you know, it's a start to something, and it kind of makes college athletes feel a little more content when going through their day to day, knowing that they have the opportunity to reach out and make money if they can, to no longer have that struggle and that worry of their family being at home, or struggling at college to go to practice, go to games, work a part-time job at night, and then maintain a social life and whatnot. So the changes that are going to come from the NIL deal are hopefully going to be for the best, and hopefully going to, you know, make the NCAA recruiting more interesting, and um, overall benefit the players and the programs at the NCAA. And yeah, that should be about it.
Okay, thank you.
How do I stop sharing my screen now?
The top spot where the button with the arrow, the box with the arrow, it probably has an X in it right now. So you have to go up to the top of your Microsoft Teams screen and just click on that box with the X. So it's just a bit higher on your screen. Yeah, just go up to the top of your Teams. Got it? Good. Okay. I had a question. Just maybe you could answer. How did, like, you started off with the court case? What led to the court case? Like, was there some um, episode or something that happened that led these players or these people to go
Yeah,
and start a
yeah.
court case?
So it was the state of California that actually started this whole thing that got the ball rolling. So they passed a bill actually 2 years ago um, that was going to allow athletes in California to be paid. So it kind of came from over time. Like it's been in the rumblings for, you know, probably over half a decade of, you know, there was just endless stories and stories of struggling players, and these with these colleges and these coaches making, you know, millions and millions of dollars, and these players struggling. So after all the stories and the controversy, yeah, California got the ball rolling by passing a bill. Um, they did so intending that, you know, the states would follow and Congress would follow, but um, so yeah, each state just started passing bills, and eventually it just the NCAA were kind of not forced, but kind of you know, kind of presented the opportunity at the right time to pay the players, and God knows they're capable of it. So they just
Yeah.
decided, you know, now's the right time.
Did it have anything to do with the video game? I just vaguely remember like college students having their likeness in
Yeah,
video games and stuff like
yeah.
that. And they weren't getting compensated for it. Was that part of it?
Um, no, not really. So the video game NCAA football discontinued in like a while ago, probably like, I don't know. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe like 2013 or
Hmm.
2012, and it's not going to be. They announced it's coming back, but it's not going to be for a couple years. But they announced it's coming back after this NIL deal was announced. So yeah, once they found out um, college players could be paid and whatnot,
Yeah,
that's when they kind of made the deal to bring it back and take advantage, and you know, provide for some of these players.
sure. And just curious, like NIL, does that stand for something? Like, is that an
Yeah,
acronym?
name, image, and likeness.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed that. Did you
Yeah,
say that
yeah, that
earlier?
was in the first slide. Sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Maybe I just missed it. Okay. That makes sense. I was going, what is it, NIL? And I
yeah.
didn't pick up on that. So name, image, likeness. Good. Okay. Um, good. Thank you. That definitely educated me on something I didn't really know about. So thanks, Sydney and John, for sharing that information. Any other questions from everyone that listened? Anyone that listened? Okay, so Julian, you should have evaluated them, and please send me your completed rubric that has them evaluated. For John and Sydney, I'll have my evaluation up by Friday. So I email you the copy of the rubric that I have completed, and your marks will be posted on Blackboard, okay, by Friday.
Okay.
And for Julian, send me an email with your completed rubric. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. Here we are. Okay, so that's good. 9:13. Sydney, I'm sure you have lots of time to get where you need to go for 10 o'clock. And let's see, 9. Just make a note here. All right. Okay, so we are going to go to the, here's my information here. Sponsors, well, no, we have to go to the practice sim for the concession capital spending. I'm going to open those right now. Make available. Okay, so the learning phase and the challenge phase are open for capital spending, and I'll just share my screen. Okay, step 1 of 14 here. Now, again, your view, you can go city, well, it looks like it's night, stadium, concessions, which we're going to be doing, and parking. All right, so we are on concessions. So this phase is going to introduce us to the capital spending, the use of concession stands, for example, as an example. So we're going to click actions and concessions. And in this practice franchise, you have no concession stands to start right here, 0. So click build additional stands right over here where it says build additional stands. You can see that they are $3,000 per stand. So we're going to click on that. So sorry, that's not cancel. That's not the amount to run build the stand. That's the amount to run each stand. So we're going to build the additional stands. So as the form indicates, it costs $50,000 to build one stand. So enter 1. We're just going to build one stand and hit OK. All right, and next. So we're just going to build one stand. That's all. I think that's one. Okay, and just checking on something there, and hit next. Now you have built a concession stand. Enter 1 into concession stands to open. I might have built 2 there. I'm not sure because I clicked on that twice. But we'll just click 1, enter 1 in concession stands to open. Enter 6 in the number of employees per stand, approximately 700 customers per staffer. Okay, so you can figure that out. 700 times 6 is, anybody? 4,200 people. Okay. For the concession, okay, to do the other concession stand decisions, prices and purchases are made. So these, all the prices on the concession items are made for us. We don't have to worry about that. We're just worried about this number of stands and employees. Okay, we're going to click OK. And we're going to click the start button. All right. Let's see what happens here at our concession stand. Keep an eye on that. I don't know what the date. We could have checked our, hold on. What's our date of our first game? The event report. So the 10th, we're expecting 12,500 people. Oh, it's going to be messy. 12,500 people and they only opened one stand. Oh, okay, let's see what happens. Should be coming up pretty soon. Speed's at 20, so it's a bit low. What time does this game start? Yeah, oh, here we go. Oh, look at those lineups. That is not good. Oh, I don't think they did very well here. Look at the event report when it appears. It's still not done. Event report. What was the total concession profit for the game? 36.53. So it made a lot of money. But look at the comments over here. The line's too long. I'm not getting anything. Over 8,500 people not even getting anything. That's a lot. Okay, we're going to click next. As you saw, each concession stand cost $50,000 to build. With one stand, you made a profit of 36 in one game. At this rate, how many games would it be required to recoup your 50,000 return on investment? Okay, so at this rate, how many games would it require to recoup your investment of 50,000? So it would be 2 games, right? So we made one game, 36,000. If we had another game, make another 36,000, you'd make your money back. So we could click on 2. Make sense? Next. Now consider the longer term by looking at return on investment, or ROI, which we talked about in the concept overview. The ROI is profit divided by investment. In this case, your investment is 50,000 spent to build a concession stand, assuming that you continue to make 36.53 in concession per profit per game in one season consists of 8 games. Over 2 seasons, what would your ROI be? Okay, so now this is a bit of a math thing. Okay, so it says that we have 8 games. All right, so 8 games. So we have what we do is take the 36,053, whoops, 36,005, we'll do this together, 3, and we are going to multiply that by 8, because that's how much concession, each 36,053 is you're making per game. So 8 would be for one season. So 36,053 times 8 games, because that's your profit per game. So you come up to about 288,000, but it's for 2 seasons. So we'll multiply that by 2. So our profit would be 5,700 and 576,848. Okay, so we need to, our investment was 50,000. So I believe we minus 50,000 equals divided by 50,000 equals 10.53. So I think they're rounding off here. Let's go with 10. Oh, I got it wrong. I did get this wrong because it was a percentage, so it was a 10.53, and I should have multiplied it by 100. My mistake. Okay, so it should be the 1,153. Okay, so I did not multiply mine by 100 to get a percentage. That was my mistake. All right, so you should make sure you multiply in that formula by 100 to get your percentage. Obviously, that's a great return, and that's why every sports venue has at least one concession stand. Now look at the customer comments in the event report. Yeah, we saw that there's over 8,000 complaints about long lines. Next. Sounds like you need more stands. Click close. On the event report, click actions, concessions, and build additional stands. So enter build additional stands. We're going to build 3. Okay. Going to cost $150,000. And click enter 4 here. To open, click OK. I guess they don't want us to change employees per stand. I guess we'll leave that at 6. Click start. Click OK. Click start. See what happens here. I'm going to just speed this up a bit, up to 50. When we get to the game, we'll just drop it down to 20. Oh. I'm going to guess that there are only a few hundred complaints now. Lineups aren't too bad. That looked pretty decent. Here comes the report. Yep. Lineup's too long, not getting anything. 396. Yes, there are a few hundred complaints. Great, people are much happier at the concession. Look at the total concession profit in the event report. Your concession profit the first game was 36,053. What happened to the concession profit for this game compared to the first game? Concession profit 79. It stayed approximately the same. No, it increased by a few $1,000s. No, it increased more than 100%. Correct. So more than they were 36. If you were to get 100% more, that would be 72,000 something and $72,106. So it went up to 79. So that's increased more than 100%. Profits went way up by adding those extra stands, giving your concession profit was 79,674. What was your profit per stand? Now we know we opened 4 stands. Okay, so 79,647 divided by 4 equals 19,912. All right, that's how much per stand. With 4 stands, profit per stand went down compared to the first game where you made 36,053 with 1 stand. However, total profits were still much higher after adding additional stands. So you added more stands, you made more money, but you made less money per stand. Next. Since this is a learning phase, let's see what would happen if you took the number of stands to the extreme. Click Actions, click Close, Actions, Concessions, click Build Additional Stands. Excuse me. Put in 8. It's going to cost 400,000. Click OK. Enter 12 into the concession stands up here. Click OK. We're going to click Start. We'll move this up to 100 until we get to about Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll drop it down to 50. Sorry, drop it down to 20 from 50. Game should be coming up in a moment. Here comes. Oh, not too busy. We got people there, but really not a lot going on. We're going to look at the event report. How did total concession profits turn out this time? Loss of $2,394. Loss was greater than $2,000. We didn't make any profit. We had too many concession stands open. Concession stand lost money at the last game. 2 things happened here. First, you spent 8 times 50,000 to build the stands. Costs you are unlikely to recoup. That's a lot of cash for building those 8, which was the $400,000. And second, the cost to operate the staff at 12 concession stands was greater than the revenue earned, resulting in a loss. So it'd just be like that example at the Sadland Center. If you opened up 20 popcorn stands and you only need 5 of them, you are not going to make any money. And so the staff concession stands were greater than the revenue earned, resulting in a loss. In the challenge phase, you will need to decide how many stands to build, primarily driven by expected attendance. So you know when you go to reports, event reports, this is why you find your attendance, right? We look at our next ones. We have 16,000 at the next game, 12,500, and so on and so on. Okay, so you make sure you check out the the amount of people that are expected to attend. How many stands to operate, primarily driven by the attendance for each game. To help figure these decisions out, but you must use the capacities for each stand. Okay, remember 700 people per staffer, right? Now let's click next. Let's see how it might work. Let's close that. So we're going to click on reports, event reports, which I was there. Click the right arrow to view the upcoming games in October. I'm just a little bit ahead, 16,000, which we already know. Okay, next. Now you know how many customers to expect. Click Actions, Concessions. The text window tells you that 700 or staffer can handle 700 customers. If you were to 6 staffers at each concession stand, how many stands would it take to serve 16,000 customers? Make sure you round up your answer. Okay, so the way you can do this is you go 16,000 divided by 700, right? Because out of all these people, each staffer can handle 700 customers, equals 22.8. Now, if we do 22.8, so if we round that up to 23, right? All right, let's see. And if you have concession stands, I think you can only do 6 per, if you have 6 staffers at each end, how many stands will it take to serve 16,000 customers? So I have 22.8, and you divide that by 6, you should have 4, right? Because 6 times 4 is 24, and we need 22.8, so we need the 4. Okay, 4 stands. That makes sense, hopefully. Okay, yes, 16,000, you take divided by 700 times 6, rounds up to round up to 4. Use the capacity method. This is what you use to determine the method at the challenge phase, advanced mode. It is possible that building a stand for just one peak game of the season is a poor or negative ROI, return on investment. So if your stand costs that 50,000 to build, and you're only having this one game that's sort of maybe against your arch rival or something like that, or a big cross-town rivalry, then it might not be a good investment to open or build a new stand just for that one game. Because the incremental profits are less than the capital cost, and you might not ever open that stand again. Congratulations, you completed the learning phase. I screwed up at one of them. I got that one question wrong because I forgot to multiply by 100, but hey, you learn from your mistakes, right? Okay, so I'll hit submit on that. Okay, good, 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 good. All right, we are at 9:30, and I am going to get into the sponsorship. This is one of my favorite simulations, the sponsorship. Oh, let me share the correct screen. I will let you do the challenge phase on your own. Sponsorships is fun, I think, because sponsorship is that mutually advantageous business relationship between parties in which the sponsor provides benefits for the sponsored in exchange for the result that can be measured against a predefined objective. So really, it's both parties are trying to lever each other's market power to get more customers than if they would be able to capture previously. So a team would seek sponsorship to not only generate revenue but also create brand awareness across different previous untapped markets. So while a sponsorship partner will try to use popularity with the particular sports team to grow its brand through fans live consumption of sporting events. So you have to think of it as a symbiotic relationship, right? As an example, the NBA recently ended a sponsor, and they recently, it's a few years ago, a sponsorship between agreement with Coca-Cola in favor of partnering with Pepsi. Why? You might ask. Because Mountain Dew, a Pepsi affiliate, has a huge millennial market share. Excuse me. Now, it might be more American. I'm not sure. I think Pepsi is definitely more of an American product than Canadian. It used to be a lot stronger in Canada, but you still find it in Canada, but maybe it's just me. And maybe Mountain Dew is more American, but I know I probably like Mountain Dew, but haven't drank a lot of soda in the last little while. So for the millennials, okay, huge millennial market sponsorship agreement that helps NBA grow its fan base when kids see Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis drink a Mountain Dew in a commercial, and helps Mountain Dew and Pepsi compete against Coca-Cola for a greater percentage of the soft drink market. So that's a big thing right there with the Pepsi and Coke with the NBA. But finding sponsorships, like how do teams find sponsorships? You have to look at this. So, where are we going here? Because so you want to, because a team wants to enhance its public image, so increase brand awareness, stimulate ticket sales from a new fan base, focus on local companies to build relationships in the community, create goodwill amongst a fan base, or generate revenue. But again, they look at the return on investment before seeking sponsorships. Now, can anyone tell me a sponsorship they're aware of in one of the sports that they watch? Anyone have any sponsorship examples they can share? Okay, I can share one with you. As you might have noticed, Raptors with BioSteel. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Brandon. So that's one of the products that they use that have definitely seen lots of that sponsorship taking place with Raptors and BioSteel. Though I haven't watched a lot of Raptors this year. I'm more of a hockey person and watch that. And if you may have watched, if you're watching any hockey, you may have noticed a sponsorship on the helmets this year. Has anyone noticed sponsorship on players' helmets? Anybody? Ah, okay, Nick. Thank you. They're adding jersey ads next year too. The leads in TikTok. Yeah. The Leafs and TikTok. Yes, I've noticed that too. Yeah, next year is jersey ads. Okay, well, and so we heard, at least what I heard, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the TikTok helmet ad, and for the Leafs, every team has a bit different, different sponsor, but it is due to the loss of revenue from during COVID. The NHL's allowed for helmet sponsorship. Is that correct? Maybe want to find one of those examples. I'm not familiar. I haven't watched every game or every team, but most teams I kind of I'm just maybe because I'm just familiar with it and looking at it, but I look at that. Interesting though, then helmet ads. So does anyone like Adam or Nick, or sorry, Adam, Nick, do you guys know what sort of the jersey ads will look like? Are we going into Premier League soccer ads? Or what are we looking at here for next year? 2x3 on the chest. Okay. Yeah, they're very particular in size, 2 inches by 3 inches. They did the thanks Nick. The same like in OCA's or Ontario College Athletic Association. They the same like sponsorship does come up as well with college teams in Canada, and they was a very small. It might have been 1 inch by 2 inches, or it could have been 2 inches. I think it was very small for the OCA sports that they allowed some sponsorship on the jerseys, and it actually comes right down to the actual brand of the jersey is considered sponsorship. So if it's Nike or Reebok or whatever it is, that could be the sponsorship that's on your jersey. Okay, so expensive ranges naming rights to a stadium, to the product placement, post-game press conference. So we know when we go to the mic table and we're looking at the backdrop behind athletes, it just doesn't say Ottawa Senators, Ottawa Senators, Ottawa Senators everywhere. It'll have in there Gatorade, Ottawa Senators, Gatorade, and it'll have it definitely that product placement there. Also, the what drink are those athletes drinking at the end of the game? When they're at that mic table. Is that it's not just their drink of choice, it's actually a product placed there because they have sponsorship to have it there. There's no sponsorship package too big or too small. It depends on the partnership fit, the agreed upon fee, the value of sponsor believes it is getting, as well as the value the sponsor brings to the team. So you have to think of this relationship, and if it is BioSteel and it's the Raptors, then both of them should be benefiting from this. BioSteel from increased sales, Raptors from people connecting with BioSteel and saying they like the product, they're watching the Raptors. So um, selling and pricing of sponsorships, so different packages. So when we go to the learning phase for the sponsorships, you're going to be looking more at the city um, scene to find different buildings that are in the city, and you're going to be clicking on those buildings, and it's going to be telling you what their um, sponsorship budget is. Okay, now let's get into this a bit more. At the end of the day, this pricing of sponsorship comes down to the supply and demand and cost benefit analysis. And we have another example here of Chevrolet in Manchester or Man U, and Chevrolet putting their name, and we all knew Premier League shirts are massive across, it's like bigger than the name of the team, so we know that here we see that they got 191 million pounds, which is a fair bit of cash, but there was some controversy here where they were sort of cannibalizing their own market, and it didn't really work out as well as they expected, but they kept the deal with them because of Chevy's and a division of GM clashed with European brands. So ultimately, they kept they had issues gaining traction and so on. But that's just an example of a partnership not working out. And then their sponsorship activation is a term used to indicate corporate sponsors' intention of promoting and advertising its sponsorship to the team. So a sponsorship will not fulfill its purpose for this corporate sponsor if no one knows about it. Therefore, activation is targeted at going beyond the actual sponsorship agreement to engage and integrate with fans. Examples of activation include team youth camps, local outreach events at sponsors grocery stores or car dealers, or even a game day memorabilia giveaway program. So those are activation opportunities. So there are some drawbacks, and here are some examples of, tobacco, gaming, alcohol, or unhealthy food companies. So I have this one friend that used to be he is or was a biathlete, and he raced in Quebec, and they Coors Light, as we know, is the silver bullet, is sort of they call it sort of the name, the silver bullet. So they had Coors Light that was sponsoring these biathlon events, but these guys that were people that were participating were in their like 13, 14 years old, and they were giving out Coors Light. This was in Quebec. Not that that makes any much difference, but maybe the laws were a bit different there. And they were getting, Coors Light out to these young athletes. So different, sort of a backfire there. That doesn't happen anymore. And here's some other ones about you know how the whole tobacco company and industry and advertisement has gone with that. Also, gambling is also, a different way that you could be some drawbacks. And then you have some other different happens here with, they've seen the Minnesota Vikings and Radisson and the Radisson during an Adrian Peterson child abuse scandal. So the Radisson logo was speckled on the news conference backdrop when the Vikings general manager was explaining the team support of Peterson. So there are some drawbacks there and some things that don't go well. But here we have the activation, brand awareness, product placement, public image, and sponsorship key terms. I'm just going to go to I know I went through that fairly quickly. I appreciate that. But I did want to get to the learning phase here of this one. Let me pull this up. And sponsorships. Oops, that's not what I want to do. So with sponsorships, I'm going to open up everything. I'm not going to get you to do the quiz now. You can do that on your own time. It will not close until March 14th or something like that. So I want to go to the learning phase of this one just because I want to show you this because it's a little bit different than what we have been doing. Let me just get this one shared. Is this it? Hopefully you can see that. So as you can see in here, I just want to show you, we're at 9:43. I'll take just a few minutes to show you this. So we see down in the bottom right corner, cash 5 million. Sponsorships up here in the top left. And we're seeing the view of the city here. So sponsorships are a major source of revenue for a sports team, and you are in charge of selling sponsorship for the Whales. Is the name of the team. The taller buildings in your city represent the headquarters for some potential sponsors. Let's check them out. Click on the tall building. So we click here. We see Target, Hey Mommy, Target Company, Industry, Domain Registration. So it's like Big Daddy. So they call Hey Mommy. Their budget is 165,000, and then you have your offers to do here. Your different areas of sponsorship. Click on another one. Bright Bulb Company. Bright if I could speak, Bright Bulb Energy. So they have 1.5 million to spend. Others, you can keep clicking on them. U.S. Bank, 660,000. Click on this one. Humongous, sorry, Humongous Insurance, 660,000. We got a little one here. Ultimate Buy, 330. Like big buy, big. Um, okay, so these big ones, that one there, U.S. Bank, I think that's their, yeah. So all these little ones, there's no sponsorship on these little things. It's just the bigger buildings. Um, the ad budget under the shown under the name of the sponsor when you click on the building, close the sponsorship window after writing down the ad. I do find that keep a pen and paper nearby here because you will be clicking on. You'll go. It's kind of like when you play that game where you put the decks of the cards all laid out and you'd have to match them up. It's like you'd be clicking on this one, Fix Me Up Hospital, just write down, 231,000 sort of thing. Okay. So which sponsor has the highest budget? I think we saw the 1.5 million. We're going to, well, this is the easy one because it tells us right here. We know that this one's the highest out of those ones there because we saw that. And we wrote, choose each sponsor window after writing down the ad budget. Okay. So we want to just make sure you are familiar with that. Let's practice selling sponsorships on lower budget sponsor. Click the sponsor building on the far right. This one over here. Ultimate Buy. Yes, 363. Look down the sponsorship opportunities you can offer them. What do you think is most valuable? So for them, they have 330 or 363,000, and we can see they tell you the price. What do you think is? I thought there should be a guide on the price. Oh, I think it's in the concept overview or in the. Let me just check one thing here. I wanted to just see sponsorship case briefing. Yeah, okay. So in the challenge phase, you're going to in charge of selling the remaining sponsorships to the Whales. You're in charge of selling field level signs, ticket booth signs, scoreboard signs, skybox signs, stadium naming signs. You'll need to estimate the value of each sponsorship and price accordingly. At the option of your professor, you can retry the simulation. Yeah, okay. We know that. So the challenge is on this is that, find this again, sorry, is that you don't know how much they're worth. So we know that the field level sign is the least expensive. Ticket booth sign, it goes up a bit higher. There's only one. It tells you how many remaining. Scoreboard sign, there's probably only one of those. Skybox, they have 3 remaining, and stadium naming rights. So if this group here, you can make an offer. So let's say the scoreboard sign we're going to offer for 300,000. But we're going to have to click that. You have to remember to always click this box, okay, because it does screw things up. And then we're going to make an offer. And it's going to come up. So deal Wales management and like the offer very much. You'll have to do better than that. Sincerely, Everett Johnson. Okay, so if they don't like it, you only can get a few chances at this. Let's say 200,000. Okay, we're going to make an offer. You're close, but quite there. Not quite there. Make your next offer good, or I don't have a lot of time for this. Sincerely. Okay, so they still don't like it. So let's go 150,000 here, and we're going to do a field level sign for 50,000. I don't know, 30,000, and we're going to do a ticket booth sign for. I'll try 30,000. I think that's probably still under the budget that they have, so we're going to make an offer. They like the offer, but I'm not stuck on the field level sign. Lower the price of that or take it off the list. I'll give you one more shot, make it good. Now, if you screw up on this next shot, then this company's off the table. They're not going to sponsor you at all. So the field level sign, we'll make it down to, we'll do 10,000. Make an offer. Okay, we finally got their business. So out of their 363,000, we have, I think it was about 150, how about 200,000 of that. So which do you think is the most valuable of these ones for them? Well, I don't think this is right. The field naming rights would definitely be the most valuable, but I don't think they can afford it. So let's put let's click on that. It's probably wrong. No, it's right. Okay. Like maybe it's just general. They're asking what is the most valuable, and we're running out of time here. Okay, so I'm hoping you get the idea. Correct. In general, you'll be trying to match lower budget sponsors with lower value opportunities and higher budget sponsors with bigger opportunities. Let's try selling Ultimate Buy a field sign. You have 3 left. Okay. Ultimate Buy. I think we already did that, but let's they want to do a field level sign. You have 3 available. And I might have jumped ahead here. How much should you ask? $30. So now they're telling us a bit of a bit of a formula here of how much the field level signs are worth. So if it's 800 square feet and $30 a square foot, there's a bit of a formula here. Okay, how much should you ask? $30 per square foot. Okay, so it's 24,000, right? So just a simple multiplication there. And you'll try asking 36, and you can play with this. This is one I suggest you play with a bit because there's a lot of randomness and it's a bit trickier than just setting the price of soft drinks or popcorn. And we're at 9:51. I don't want to keep anyone too long. So I'm going to end the call now, and I'll stay on the line in case there are any questions. I know I did go through sponsorships fairly quick. This isn't really due until when we get back. We have 2 weeks to do it, okay? So I'll be away for the break, but I will be monitoring my phone. So if you do have any questions or want something reset, just send me an email or a text and I can reset it, but just be patient. It might be 24 hours before I reset it. Okay, so hopefully everyone enjoys an awesome reading week. Gets caught up and everything you need to do. Spend some good time with some friends and some family and just recharge the batteries. Okay, so we will see everyone in 2 weeks, and stay in touch if you need any help. Bye.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. So see you.